Damn, hey, y'all said some shit in them super chats, man. Damn, that's some shit I did not think about for sure. Okay, let's get into this one. Anybody can answer. And Chief, you gotta bring this in. Why was this one of the questions that you kind of conjured up?
Uh-oh.
What's been the greatest lesson learned from your father?
I
Let's go a lot of
think
different ways.
so. Yeah, no. So I think to my point earlier when we were talking about women and men raising children, I think a lot of the lessons learned are attributed to the man in your life, not that like or the more valuable ones. Maybe I could say, like for me, like in his absence, the biggest lesson for me was don't do that to your children.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like it, and that's huge for me. Like don't. That was one of my main like I've always had a passion for kids, but like I have been determined that once I have kids, to never make them feel like that, to never have them experience that. So again, the lesson that he taught me was subconscious because he didn't teach it to me, but it was completely derived from his absence. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people carry those same things, whether they realize it or not.
So you say, I'm not carrying this on. You're not perpetuating this.
No, but even if you ask my daughter, like, what's the most, or my kids, what's the most important? Like, my daughter wrote down 3 things she had to do for class. Like, they asked her, what's the most important thing your dad taught you? And it was like to love myself, to be confident, and to like love my people. But it was like 3 pretty profound things for a 10-year-old to say at the time. You know what I'm saying? That shit felt good.
Yeah. Damn. So you learned what not to do.
Right. But it's still a lesson learned, no?
No, yeah, 100%. That's why when I read it at first, and then when you started talking, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's in a lot of different ways. Q, what say you? Greatest lesson learned from your father?
Oh shit, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That shit be like, damn, I gotta go.
Because you know what?
I ain't never seen Q scratch her head before.
Right. Shit.
Wow. It gets deep, right? So
Yeah.
the first time that I ever spoke to my dad was a week or 2 before he died.
Mm-hmm.
So that conversation was so intense, and the main thing that he wanted from me was forgiveness. And I guess the amount of courage that it took to be able to do that on your way out. And yet we live around people every day who will leave this world and never rectify things or apologize. So just him as, being a stand-up guy in that way, I learned how to make things right. Like, I guess make things right with people. And
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So is that something you carry with you to this day, Q?
Hell yeah.
Forgiveness. Like,
because of how he went about it. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna go too deep into the story, but it was like, it was a way that it was like it was meant to be. You know what I mean? He was supposed to die alone, and then how we ended up getting connected was crazy.
If I may, I don't know your backstory or nothing, but if I ask the same question, what's the greatest lesson you learned from your mom? You don't have to tell it, but do you think the lesson you learned from your father is more impactful than the one you learned from your mom? The greatest? No?
Okay. Because of her role in my life, and she's such a warrior. My mom she's a fucking bionic woman. Like, she's a 3-time cancer survivor. She's got, like, her story is so fucking incredible. Right. Yeah, it doesn't compare. I think I'm very lucky that I had 2 great parents, even though my dad was absent, but he was absent for his own reasons, and clarified a lot of that on his way out. So it was like, all I could do was fucking respect it.
No doubt. Alex, you had both parents, right?
Yeah, they're both alive.
I'm saying they were both part of your life though, growing up. Like, you had them both. Everything was good or no? No. Anybody? Anybody on here? It's fucked up too.
That's black.
Yeah, word. That's fucked up too. I'm just curious to know, like, someone who was raised by both parents, just to see if that theory tests true. Like, the lessons you learned from both parents, which one do you believe?
Yeah. So if I answer, I think they kind of run together a little bit. Honestly, the lessons.
Mhm. Well,
Uh,
the greatest lesson, if you had to answer, what was the greatest from your mom, the greatest from your dad, and just like what do you think holds more weight in your life right now?
so from my mom, we have a similar attitude. Like my mom, she talking about how many fights she been in. She don't take no shit. Like you know what I mean. Just so we have a similar like just being. You know what I mean. Like quick tempered, kind of. You know.
Was that
Um.
taught to you though? Is that like,
So
or
that's
is
what
that
I'm
just
getting
like,
at.
okay,
Yeah, but my dad actually said, "Don't take no shit." You see what I mean?
Mhm.
But when I reflect on them, I'm like, okay, I'm more similar to my mom. But the lesson, like, hey, don't take nothing from nobody, is probably just the greatest thing. But it doesn't always manifest in the violence,
Mhm.
right? It's like I try things. I started a rap battle league. You know what I'm saying? Like I just do stuff. I ain't afraid to fail. You know what I'm saying? I'll try anything in terms of like business and put myself out there or moving to DC. Shit, I came home 3 months later. I moved, like whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. Now I'm
I
in tech.
remember.
Yeah, you know, I was out. You know what I'm
Like, damn,
saying?
where you going ham? Damn. Word? Okay.
You know, like I went to Springfield College, then I went to URI, then I transferred mid semester and went to Elizabeth City. Like fuck it, like you know what I mean. So that just always stayed. Or then when we play ball, like I think I played much bigger than what I am. You know what I'm saying? Just because I know I'm a win. You know what I'm saying? Like when we go man to man, I know I'm a win. You know, now of course I got my ass beaten and lost a bunch of times, but when I get up there, I know I'm a win.
Every time.
Yeah, every time. Like, and we used to go against some. I know I'm a win. Period. You know, so I think just hearing that, one time we got dropped off Sister Helen house. I couldn't stand going to that motherfucking house, man. Right? Because they was mean in real life, but they was nice at church. You feel me?
No word.
So we over there for a whole weekend. So the dad, he trying to tease me, right? So I'm like 7 years old. He trying to tease me. He get down on one knee. He's like, hit me then. Before he got the THE out, I punched him right in his mouth. As soon as he said, because that's what I always heard. Don't take no shit. Period. You know, and this a Grom 7. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think that was probably so. I guess it like combined. You know, it kind of like came together. You know, so yeah, man. What say you, Ish? Oh, go ahead, Chief. Go ahead.
No, I was good.
What say you, Ish?
So for my stepfather, I would definitely say good work ethic. That man is just not a lazy man. He's just not like and for my mom, it's more of my mom was, I would say, meek, very meek, submissive, just the definition of it, and that was her strength. So
Real shit. Nobody want to go to work with Isha, stepdad or my dad. They be like, man, fuck them niggas, man. I'd rather be broke. They only do hard work. They don't do nothing the easy way. There'll be a machine over there that can pick up 20 pallets. You got to carry all 20 by hand over to the machine. What the fuck? I'm like, bro, this don't make no sense. Damn, man. What say you, Bob?
Yo, I'm gonna have to go with my dad as far as what not to do, because I think my dad is the reason why I never dibbled and dabbled in narcotics. I never put my hands on women. I don't disrespect women. I don't use that B word, yo. I don't use that at all. That's just something I don't do. But the crazy shit is, when it comes to being around family, I got that shit from my dad though. Cause my dad used to, when my dad was around, you know what I'm saying, he used to pack us up and keep it pushing, and we would go visit family. My mom per se, you know, she wasn't really like that, you know what I'm saying? And also the fact that, you know, you know that old saying, if life give you lemonades, if life give you lemon, make lemonade, right? Like my dad, like I learned from my dad, yo, if you get knocked down, man, you gotta get the fuck back up. Like my dad's problem was, yo, he got knocked down a lot. And he didn't really know how to get back up on his feet. You know what I'm saying? That's what kind of made him like it shit it sound kind of fucked up if I call him a bad dad, but I feel like that's what kind of made him like a bad dad. Life was just beating it. Life was just fucking him up, and he didn't know how to get back up on his own too. You know what I'm saying? So,
But we're still trying to encourage you to do so.
well, nah, he wasn't. He wasn't really encouraging me how to do so. I feel like he felt like, all right, well, if the kids with their mother, they straight, I don't really gotta do nothing. But but he knew later on in life, because my pops, he saw me. He got to witness my life when I was in my 20s. He saw that, I was on the come up, and I ain't gonna say he used me at that point, but it was times where he needed me when I was in my 20s. And excuse my language, I held that motherfucker down. You know what I'm saying? And I would like to say he appreciated it at the time, but it wasn't really like reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? He never told me, he just got ghosted again without word. And I just took that, for face value, like, all right, well, it is what it is. He been doing this my whole life, in and out. So I'm gonna just, let him rock. But before he passed, I'm the type, I can't hold nothing in. So before he passed, I got off my chest what I needed to say to him. You know what I'm saying? And however that made him feel, it is what it is. But I ain't gonna keep that shit on my heart and my soul. But so the biggest thing I would say, I learned what not to do for my pops. Long story short, let's get
Shit, it was a long story.
it. Let's get it.
B, what say you, B?
Oh, Hampton. Well, I never knew my father.
Mm.
Never knew anything about him. What I do know is we look alike because I don't look nothing like the lady who gave birth to me. I would say just to always be there for my kids. While growing up, and even to this very day, I always said to myself that when I have a family, I would always be, there for my kids. Unlike how he was, opposite of him not being there for me. So I would just say that's what I learned from him. Just always be there for your family and take care of your responsibilities. I would say what I do know in terms of whatever the adoption or whatever. If he went absent, I could see why, but I would still say um, that I've learned, just to be there for your family and be a family man to the best of your ability.
You can see why he went absent.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase that. I can see why he would have no longer had any dealings with the lady who gave birth to me. Let me say
That ain't got nothing to do with his child.
But and yeah, so should have worded that a little bit better. And at times, I mean, when I was real little, but I don't care now. One thing that also bothered me is how can you have a child out there and not bother to look for your child? That's another thing that I've looked at looked at as well. How you have a child and never bother to look for your child, or you never inquired about your child. What foster care agency is in, who adopted him, etc., etc. You just have no further dealings with the mother.
When did it stop bothering you?
I would say when I was like in high school, I was just like, it just is what it is at this point. Um, and then I just focused my search on finding the lady who gave birth to me, and he just eventually just left out of my system. I would say that it was around ninth, 10th grade of my high school year.
Hmm. But are you well? What tools do you have? Because is what it is I think is a dangerous phrase. Like it just dismissed like, and we always say it when we have to do something we don't like or something that's happening that we don't necessarily agree with. We like it is what it is, but that's not really the case because we got an issue.
Oh yeah, I would say it's an issue, in terms of not having, certain tools in life. But I would say,
No, B. Sorry, you misunderstood because you said in ninth or 10th grade you said it is what it is. So that's not dealing. That's just kind of trying to dismiss it. But we know it is what it is. We only say that for things that we probably don't agree with or that are hurting us or harmful that we don't have an answer for.
well, okay, so I would say that's a better answer. I would say that then if that's I see where you're going with that.
I'm just wondering how did you deal? Because ninth and 10th grade, I don't know if we well equipped. If something was bothering you for 14 years.
No, around that time, that's when I kind of was like, just whatever, and then like I said, again, like I said, I did focus a lot of my attention on finding the lady who gave birth to me, and I just focused a lot of that attention on her. And he, well, let me rephrase. I wouldn't say he 100% left my system, but I would say it was kind of like, if he comes around, if I find more information on him, etc., then I'll use that in my search for him. But I would just focus a lot of my attention on finding the lady who gave birth to me.
Yeah, so that's what kind